Thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to be reviewing the Topeak E-Booster Digital Bike Tire Inflator. These days it seems like every brand has an electric tire inflator, so shouldn't be surprised that Topeak has just come out with the new E-Booster Digital. The Topeak E-Booster Digital is a portable electric inflator that combines a digital display with Topeak SmartHead design to automatically switch between Presta and Schrader valves with a simple slider. Packaging-wise, you can see very simple. You just have the white and yellow color scheme that Topeak is known for, a nice graphic of the actual pump on the front, and then illustrations on the back of how to use it and some of their specs. I'll go ahead and take this out of the box and we'll go over those full specs. So retail price on this is $129.95, so a little bit more expensive than some of the other options. Has a full digital screen with the battery gauge and the ability to show different units directly on there. You have a 120 PSI limit, so that should cover almost all normal bike use. And again, you have their SmartHead, which has a little slider to switch between Presta and Schrader if you use the valve directly on the pump itself. It's also USB Type-C rechargeable, so you can quickly recharge this. And it's a pretty fast inflator as well, so you get 80 PSI in 50 seconds with a 700 by 25C tire. So it should be faster than some of the competition out there. You can see as far as what comes with it, you get the pump with the silicone sleeve already pre-installed. So I'll slide this off. You have the pump itself, nice metal finish. A little quick start guide here on how to use it. A USB Type-C to USB Type-A charging cable. You have a little weather pouch, which is a nice feature. So if you want to throw this in your saddlebag, you don't want water getting into it, you can put that in here. You also get another fabric carrying bag with the Topeak branding. The full instruction manual here in multiple languages, and then the extension valve with the Presta adapter already pre-installed. So this one you actually have to remove if you want to use it in the Schrader directly, while the pump itself has the selection directly on there if you don't use the extension valve. Now let's take a look at the weight of the pump. So the pump by itself, without the cover or any extensions, comes in at 157 grams. Visually, the Topeak E-Booster Digital has a classic electric inflator design with lightweight construction that's optimized for portability. The pump boasts an average size 600 milliamp internal battery and claims to inflate tires faster than other pumps on the market. Despite its relatively small battery though, the pump can inflate 700 by 28 tires up to 80 PSI from zero 3 times in a row, or a 700 by 40C tire up to 40 PSI 6 times. So it should be more than enough to do most roadside flats and not have to worry about running out of battery. In terms of size, you can see it's fairly small, not the smallest one on the market, but you have a nice rectangular profile. It's 59 by 35 by 86 millimeters, and that means the longest dimension here, the height here, is less than 3.3 inches. You have a standard rectangular profile that hides the motor and the battery, and then what's unique about this one is you have the SmartHead pump on the top sticking out, so you can see this round extension piece that you normally don't see. Normally these would just be cut here and you'd have a rectangular design. But with the SmartHead, it adds a little bit of height. It's also a really cool feature. So with this one, you don't have additional parts if you just want to plug this in directly into a Presta or Schrader. You have a nice illustration here, and then you just grab the slider and move it to the appropriate spot. It is a mostly aluminum and then plastic pieces on here. So you can see aluminum body, Topeak branding on the side, USB Type-C charging port right here, and it's actually open, and that's to let air out. So when you're using it, this acts as an exhaust, so when you inflate it, you want to make sure you don't grab it here and completely seal it. They put the screen on the front side, and then the inflator on the other, so it's pretty intuitive. You plug it in, and you can see the screen. 3-button interface, so nice backlit display, power button, plus and minus, and then the display shows you the battery status, the units, the target pressure, and then when it's inflating, the current pressure. The other side, you just have basic Topeak branding, and again, the SmartHead on the top, and then safety information underneath it. It's quite small though, you can't put it in your pocket, and you can see it fits in the palm of your hand. The SmartHead though is obviously the cool feature. So with this one, you don't have to swap parts in and out. You can simply just plug it in to the Presta or Schrader and just look at the graphic, put it in the right spot, start inflating. If you want to use the extension hose, then this part doesn't actually matter. So with the extension hose, and you actually have to use the extension hose if you're using a TPU valve, as this can heat up so much that they can potentially melt the valve. So as a safety precaution, most electric pumps recommend using the extension. And it gives you a little bit more distance. So you can see if you have a lot of spokes, you can put this underneath. And with the extension, you can see a flexible region, fairly short. And then it actually has a Presta adapter pre-installed. So that's one downside. The SmartHead doesn't really matter if you want to use the extension. You do have to carry this extra part. So you can see very simple threaded part. But you can use the SmartHead to remember what's actually on. So with this one, I have the Presta on there. If I decide I don't want that, you can use this as a visual reminder. You can take this off, put it back to Schrader, and then you can visually tell what's on there, but you do have to remember to switch it manually. The user interface is also really simple. So power button to turn it on and off by holding. A nice clear battery indicator, so 4 levels. You have 3 bars here and then the last one will flash. Up and down to set the target, and then you can hold the button and then you can see it'll do it faster. So pretty easy to switch between. And Topeak has not added any additional features like flashlights or other features that don't really add value and just complicate things, which I appreciate. So it's much simpler. Hold it to turn it up and down, 120 PSI limit. And to change the units, what you want to do is wait till this goes back to 0, which shows the current pressure. Hold the plus button, and then you can see PSI is flashing. If I press it again, you can see I can switch between bar and then kilograms per centimeter squared. So pretty simple. And again, if you want to switch it, just hold and then press the button. You can see the unit display either has 1 decimal place for the PSI or 2 decimals for bar and kilograms per centimeter squared. As far as the pump, you can hear it's fairly loud, but not too obnoxious. And with this one, it's designed to inflate faster than some of the competitors on the market. It has auto stop. So you set your target, press the button, and then you can also manually stop it by pressing it again. They do include the silicone sleeve, which should help with heat, as these do get pretty hot. So if you're doing inflation from empty, it can take a while and then will warm up. So it's nice to have the sleeve here. And then you do have this nice bag, which is a great way to keep track of the small adapters. So if you want to switch between Schrader and Presta, you're going to have to bring this along if you want to use the extension. And having the bag is a convenient way to keep it all in one place. Here you can see the pump in action. It's pretty easy to select your pressure. You have a nice bright big screen, easy battery indicator and different units. You can hold the buttons down to quickly change the inflation pressure, and then using the hose extender, you can just thread it on. We like where the screen is as well, so it's right behind it, so you have easy sight line to it. Once you have it threaded on, you simply start, and the sound here isn't too bad, so the volume on par with some other ones are not too annoying. It's also a pretty fast pump, so it inflates pretty quickly and with a decent sized battery, so you can definitely do a couple tires. And if you're just topping off, you can do even more than that, which is something you can't do with CO2. Here's a quick speed comparison too. The Fanttik is very slow, while the CYCPLUS is on par with the Topeak and beat it by a second or two to go to 0 to 60 PSI for a 700 by 28 tire. So a pretty nice pump overall with cool features and fast inflation. As you can see here, we reviewed quite a few electric pumps, including one of the originals, the CYCPLUS. So with this one, they have different variations. They have the Pro and the Pro Max. We have the standard version, which is smallest, the Pro here, and then the Pro Max would be a little bit bigger than this. And you can see size-wise, they're all pretty similar. The big difference is that Topeak has the SmartHead, which again adds that height. Screen placement-wise, you can see pretty similar. So if I turn both of these on, they both have a backlit display. Very similar design with the up-down buttons and the valves placed on the front and screens on the back side. As far as the sound, you can hear the CYCPLUS versus the Topeak. A little bit different tone. I like the Topeak, it's a little bit quieter, while these are a little bit higher pitched. Flextail also has their own variation. No screen on this one, so even smaller. So very, very portable, but quite loud again. And with a single button, you can't really select anything. It has a cool startup and shutdown audio, which is a little bit unusual. And you can see a little bit different tone, but again, a little bit smaller as you don't have the screen. COOSPO also has one. This is their APB1. And you can see the screen is placed on the front side. So it's not clear which one's better when you're actually doing the pump. You can see this side, but traditionally you'd probably be in front of it. So you can see the back side better. They both have nice large screens. This one's a little bit color coded. Shows you the target. And the big difference here is the SmartHead. With all these other ones, you have to put a little adapter on here if you want to switch between Schrader and Presta. And you can see this one actually sticks out. So this one's nice and flush, but with the COOSPO it sticks out a bit. And then noise-wise, you can hear very loud, so a lot more obnoxious than the other ones. But it is slightly smaller, but has a little adapter sticking out. Fanttik also has their own variation. This one is 5,000 milliamp battery versus the 600, so a lot bigger, not really that portable. But what I do like about the Fanttik is that it's so large that it doesn't sound quite as obnoxious. So lower sound as it's a bigger pump. And what's cool about this one is the extension on here is just reversible. So rather than keeping track of a part, you just pull this off. And then if you want to go to Schrader, you attach it the other way. So it's a pretty cool design feature that lets you have the option to switch with an extension hose, but you don't have to worry about keeping track of small parts like you do with the Topeak. So that's definitely one improvement that Topeak could add. But if you're not using the extension hose, you really don't have to worry about this. And you can just use it directly by just changing the little slider. Now let's go over the pros and cons for the Topeak E-Booster. What you like about it is you have premium build quality, so it feels really well made and robust. And you also have Topeak's SmartHead Selector, which lets you switch between Presta or Schrader if you connect the pump directly to the valve without a need for additional parts. You also get pretty fast inflation with this pump and a decent sized battery, so you can inflate a couple tires before you need to recharge the battery. The main negative with this pump is the fact that Smart Selector doesn't really matter when you have the hose on, and you kind of need the hose for most applications as it's easier to use and protects you if you have a TPU valve. So it's kind of an odd design. I wish they had somehow connected it so it would actually work with the extender as well. Taking everything into account would give the pump an 8.8 out of 10. It's a compact and fast portable bike inflator. Thanks for watching this review. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You can see more content from us on our website at thesweetcyclist.com, as well as follow us on Instagram at thesweetcyclist. This is The Sweet Cyclist reminding you to enjoy the ride.